When I was in first grade, my best friend Lily was found dead in a dirty ditch, naked. After an investigation, the village fool Ellie was identified as the culprit. Fearing my heartbreak, my parents rushed us to move to another province that very night. 12 years later, due to university entrance exam policies, I returned to my hometown after a long absence. Lily's mother saw me, crying out frantically, "Lily, Lily!" Ellie, who had just been released from prison, smirked and waved, "Lily, Lily!" The 90-year-old father of the village chief, Old Man Wilson, saw me and collapsed, muttering, "Lily, Lily." My best friend Lily died in the summer of 2011. I was only in first grade then, too young to understand life and death. Seeing the usually beautiful Lily lying in a ditch, unclothed, I naively asked the adults, "Why is she sleeping here? Isn't she cold? Where's her dress?" No one answered. They were busy retrieving her body and notifying her family. Only Ellie trailed after me, pulling my hand and asking, "Where's Lily? Where is she?" I yanked my hand away, a strange annoyance welling up inside me. What did it have to do with her? Lily and I were born only 2 days apart. We had identical interests, spending our days together like true twin sisters, even wanting to wear matching clothes, like the bright yellow dress she bought at the county market. The very next day, I insisted my mother buy me an identical one. We were similar in height and hairstyle, so many people with poor eyesight often confused us. But Ellie was an exception. Despite her dullness, she never once mistook us. I heard that Ellie wasn't born foolish. It was a high fever at age 4, left untreated. She never went to school, wandering around all day, stealing small things in the village. The villagers despised her, and even her parents' affection cooled after countless disappointments. Whenever someone complained, they'd immediately whip her with a rattan cane without bothering to verify the truth. So when the police finished their investigation and named Ellie as the culprit, they quickly accepted the results, tying her up and bringing her to the door for people to deal with. The crowd pointed fingers. Lily's mother cried until she fainted. Ellie looked around blankly, mumbling, "Lily, Lily." I hid behind my mother, peeking through the gaps to see Lily's father kick her down. He roared like a mad lion, "How dare you call my daughter's name? I'll kill you, you beast." Ellie's parents' lips trembled slightly as they turned away, wiping their tears. Ellie clutched her head, crying as always, "Don't hit me anymore, I know I was wrong." This time, no one had any pity. Everyone furiously called her an animal. The village chief's son shouted, "Lock her up until she dies." Amidst the chaos of the crowd, a cicada crawled out of Ellie's pocket, slowly making its way towards me. That was my last memory of my hometown 12 years ago. After Lily's incident, I suffered from endless sleepless nights. Every time I dozed off, I'd see her with a face swollen from dirty water, a wide grin waving at me. "Chloe, come play." Before I could refuse, she'd pull me down into that deadly ditch. Foul-smelling water filled my nose and mouth. Struggling to open my eyes in pain, the mud stuck to my eyelids transformed into a demonic face against the gray sky. The choking sensation made me thrash. Half dead, my mother shook me awake, asking anxiously, "Chloe, what's wrong?" I panted, "Mom, I saw Lily asking me to play with her." She patted my back comfortingly, "Don't be scared, it's just a nightmare." But after several consecutive nights, my parents decided to move immediately. They thought I was too grief-stricken and a change of environment would be better. On the train, watching the scenery recede, I quietly asked, "Did Ellie really kill Lily?" Even though the case was closed, I always felt something was off. Ellie might steal small things, but she had never hurt anyone, let alone someone as beautiful and kind as Lily. Everyone, including me, hated her, but only Lily treated her kindly, not throwing stones like the other children, even sharing her meager food. I racked my brain, unable to understand why she would harm Lily. My mother sighed, "Chloe, you're still young, there are many things you wouldn't understand. It's over now, don't think about it anymore." I nodded, silently bidding farewell to my best friend. In our new house, my mother filled my room with copper coins and wooden swords to ward off evil. Perhaps it was psychological, but from then on, I stopped having nightmares. 12 years flew by, and I was in my final year of high school. Following the new exam policy, I had to return to my registered hometown to take the university entrance test. The night before I left, I overheard my parents' hushed conversation. "Will it be all right there? It's been so long, but I'm afraid." Their voices faded, and the image of a small 5- or 6-year-old face appeared in my mind. Her face was blurry in my memory, but the pale yellow dress she wore remained as bright as ever. Returning to my hometown after all those years, the path into the village was exactly as I remembered, filled with people chatting. I adjusted my dress and followed my parents out of the car. A woman with graying hair and a deeply wrinkled face suddenly grabbed me. "Lily, Lily!" I flinched, then recognized her as Lily's mother. "My daughter is back." She hugged me tightly, sobbing uncontrollably, tears and snot mingling. Someone coldly scoffed. "Auntie, your daughter passed away ages ago. This is Chloe." But she didn't listen, one hand clinging to my skirt with all her strength. "This is my daughter, this is my daughter. Look at this yellow dress, I bought it for her." I'm sorry, she's having an episode." A weather-beaten man quickly came to pull her away. Seeing me, he suddenly froze. "Chloe, you're back?" I nodded, a little surprised. Lily's parents were the same age as mine, but standing together now, they looked like two different generations. The pain of losing a child for so many years must have driven one to madness and aged the other prematurely. He looked at me with reddened eyes. "If Lily were still alive, she'd be as tall as you now." The mention of Lily suddenly sobered the atmosphere, broken only by a strange, garbled sound. I turned my head towards the noise, and it was Ellie. She had been sentenced to 10 years that year, meaning she'd been out for 2 years, looking even more foolish. I remembered how she never confused me with Lily when we were children, but now she smiled and waved at me. "Lily, Lily!" She was the culprit, so of course I couldn't greet her. Besides, Lily's mother still had a tight grip on my hand. My mother, trying to soothe Lily's mother, struggled to pull her hand away and pushed me forward. "Chloe, don't worry about it here, go home first." I nodded obediently, weaving through the crowd towards home. Passing by the ancient pagoda tree, beneath it sat an old man with white hair. This was the village chief's father, Old Man Wilson. When I left, he had just celebrated his 80th birthday. Now he was 92. As a child, he always confused me with Lily. Seeing me now, he flinched. "Who are you?" Before I could answer, he stiffened, then collapsed to the ground, his mouth still muttering, "Lily, Lily, she's back." Several people rushed to perform acupressure. I stood rooted to the spot, somewhat bewildered, never expecting so many things to happen on my first day back. Dragging my suitcase, I hurried home. Only at the gate did I discover Ellie still trailing behind me. I scowled, showing my disdain. "Why are you following me?" She must have lived a miserable life these past few years. Before, Ellie's parents at least wouldn't let her starve, and her clothes were changed every few days. Not like now, she was as thin as a stick, her clothes tattered as if not washed in 100 years. Even without getting close, I could smell the stench. Ellie knew I disliked her, backing away, her hands nervously rubbing her ragged clothes. "Lily, don't be scared." "Scared? Scared that Lily's vengeful ghost is back to claim a life?" I gave a cold laugh and slammed the door shut. Having been away for over a decade, the house was covered in thick dust. By the time I finished cleaning, it was late afternoon and my parents still weren't home. Restless, I decided to take a walk around the village. The moment I opened the door, I was startled by a hunched figure on the porch. "Why are you still here?" I patted my chest to calm myself. Ellie scratched her head. "Lily, I froze, I didn't fall in." Her face was streaked with dark gray mud, with 2 deep furrows carved by tears. They said you died here, don't go near the ditch." Her words were disjointed, like a child learning to read. I roughly understood her meaning. She mistook me for Lily, advising me to stay away from the ditch. But wasn't she the culprit? Ellie shook her head vigorously. "No, it wasn't me," she ate. She got too agitated and slipped, falling with a splash into the ditch. The water wasn't deep, but the soft mud held her feet fast. Without someone to rescue her, she'd struggle to get out, perhaps even be buried there, atoning for Lily. But what if she was innocent? I hesitated for a moment, then picked up a dry branch from the bank and extended it. "Grab this, I'll pull you up." She obediently held on tight. Just as she was about to reach the bank, a deafening thunderclap echoed. Ellie shrieked, letting go. I quickly grabbed her arm and in the pull, accidentally brushed her chest. The soft sensation was like a lightning strike, leaving me stunned. He asterisk or she? I looked closely at Ellie again. Despite her face being covered in mud, her delicate features were still clear. I had thought she looked scruffy due to her family's neglect, but now I wondered if she was hiding her feminine contours. But when Lily died, she was unclothed. It was clearly a man's crime. Had the police arrested the wrong person, or was there more to this hidden story? Frozen, I turned back towards Lily's house, but at the gate, I made a sharp turn and headed straight for Ellie's house. Lily's mother had suffered enough. I didn't want to bring her more pain. Besides her, surely others knew the truth, like Ellie's parents. Outsiders might not know her true gender, but how could her own parents not? I didn't beat around the bush and ask directly. Ellie is a girl, isn't she? Mrs. Zhao flinched, stammering. I just saw her. She jumped up, frantically closing the door. You haven't told anyone, have you? I shook my head. I just want to ask if she really killed Lily. She lowered her face. The police already closed the case. My family has paid the price. You're lying. Lily was found unclothed. She was clearly assaulted and then murdered by a pervert. Mrs. Zhao suddenly looked up, her eyes wide. What you see isn't necessarily true. The fool confessed. She liked Lily's dress, pulled at it, and accidentally pushed the girl into the ditch. We've admitted our guilt. What more do you want? I clenched my fists. I just want the truth. This is the truth? Her words were sharp, but my intuition told me things weren't that simple. I had a dress just like Lily's. If Ellie liked it so much, why didn't she come to steal mine? That night, I told my mother about my discovery. She sternly told me to stop investigating. With less than a month until the university exams, she wanted me to focus on my studies. I sulked and went to my room. In the middle of the night, a vivid nightmare struck me for the first time in years. In the dream, it was 12 years ago, when I was in first grade, before Lily's accident. We had braided pigtails and wore bright yellow dresses, like inseparable twins. After the school bell rang, we walked home hand in hand. We diligently did our homework at the old wooden table. Halfway through, my mother came out from the kitchen. Chloe, stop for a moment, take this meat to Grandma. I looked up. I don't want to go, I'm doing my homework. What? I've asked you several times already. Why don't you go yourself? Mom, I'm cooking, she said. I remained stubborn. In my dream, I absolutely hated going out. Perhaps it was because Grandma's house was near Ellie's. Every time I passed by, I was sure to encounter her. She was 5 or 6 years older than me and had once stolen my candied hawthorn and biscuits. I detested her. And today I was wearing my prettiest dress. What if she snatched it? Thinking that, I clutched my stomach. Mom, my stomach hurts. You always say your stomach hurts when I ask you to do something. Are you faking it? No, really? I clutched my stomach and groaned. My mother was still hesitating. Lily stood up. What? I'll take it. I'm heading home soon anyway. It's on my way. My mother praised her. See how well-behaved Lily is, and you? Lily smiled shyly. Chloe and I are best friends. Her business is my business. My mother gave her the bag of meat and 2 extra candies. Thank you, dear. Yes, I'm going now. The little girl picked up her satchel, turned, and waved. Goodbye, Chloe. Watching her bouncing figure, a sense of unease suddenly welled up in my heart. It felt as if she was about to vanish. Panicked, I screamed, Lily. I jolted awake, the scream in my dream making my heart pound. Wiping the sweat from my forehead, the dream memory was as vivid as if it happened yesterday. I suddenly realized that this seemed to be the scene right before Lily's accident. That night was the last time we saw each other. But what happened after that? Did she deliver the meat to Grandma's house? And how did she end up in that dirty ditch? My memory, eroded by time, was hazy. I couldn't remember anything. I rubbed my forehead, stood up, and poured a glass of water. It was already bright outside, and my mother was busy in the kitchen. After washing my face, waiting for her to bring breakfast, I pretended to ask, Mom, do you remember? The day before Lily's accident, she was doing homework with me at our house. My mother squinted, recalling. Yes, I think so. And you gave her 2 candies? That's right. Her eyes brightened. I told you to take the meat to Grandma, but you pretended to have a stomach ache. I followed up, so did Grandma actually receive the meat? Of course. She even praised Lily for being more obedient and thoughtful than her own grandchild. What a pity. That means nothing happened to her on the way to Grandma's house. It wasn't my fault. My tense heart relaxed a little. My mother sighed. Lily was such a kind child, but she was broken before she could even blossom. And even now, the true culprit still hasn't been found. I sat in a daze by the rice field, a place that used to be Lily's and my secret base. Now I was alone. I wanted to do something for her, but I didn't know how. Just then, a voice called out. Chloe? I turned around, and it was Ethan. He held a basket in his left hand and a hoe in his right. Are you digging for vegetables? No, Grandpa had a heart attack yesterday, and Dad told me to pick some medicinal herbs. The former village chief, Mr. Wilson, was a skilled herbalist, always digging for his own medicine when sick. Their family had been like that since childhood. It was surprising that after 12 years, even though the village was no longer poor, they still kept the old habit. Oh, those books I mentioned the other day are sorted. Come get them when you have time. Okay, thank you. Is your grandpa all right? I remembered he collapsed the other day when he saw me. Surely he mistook me for Lily, thinking her vengeful spirit had returned. I wanted to smile, but then I froze. It suddenly occurred to me that the most agitated people when I returned were Lily's parents, Ellie, and the chief's father. They all thought I was Lily. The first two were understandable, both connected to her. But why did the chief's father react that way? Moreover, looking at him then, he was clearly terrified. Old people often say, if you do no wrong, you fear no ghost at your door. Could it be that someone had done something nefarious? What are you thinking? Ethan waved a hand in front of my face. I forced a smile. Nothing, just remembered I have something to do at home. I'll head back now. At noon, the elderly villagers usually sunbathed. I scanned around but didn't see Old Man Wilson. Perhaps his health hadn't recovered, or he was still afraid. The next day, I used the excuse of picking up books to visit the village chief's house. The village chief was away. Ethan enthusiastically invited me into the living room. As I stepped in, Old Man Wilson's cloudy eyes suddenly widened. His wrinkled hand gripped the armrest of the chair tightly. I feigned surprise. Old Man Wilson, what's wrong? He coughed violently, his eyes fixed on me. Who are you? I smiled. Don't you recognize me, Grandpa? It's Lily. The moment the two words, it's Lily, left my lips, I clearly felt his breathing quicken. Lily, but Lily is dead. Who told you that? Did you dream it? No, impossible. I saw it with my own eyes. If I remembered correctly, this old man wasn't present when Lily's body was discovered. During the police investigation, he even feigned illness, staying put at home for days. So how could he have seen it with his own eyes? There must be something shady. What did you see? He squinted, reminiscing. I saw her come to the house wearing a yellow dress. That's right, just like the dress you're wearing. My heart pounded as if I was about to touch the most brutal truth. Old Man Wilson suddenly became lucid. No, you're not Lily. She wasn't that tall. He measured with his hand. She was only about this tall. I was disappointed, but his next words made me freeze. He said, but even if she was small, she was still a woman. At this, a repulsive and satisfied smile spread across the old man's wrinkled face, sending shivers down my spine. He didn't hide it at all, but rather used an air of triumph to recount his past crime, as if boasting about a victory. His every word pierced my ears like a knife. A wave of nausea enveloped my entire body. I couldn't help it. I squatted down and dry heaved. Seeing my reaction, Old Man Wilson cackled, baring his yellow teeth. Can't listen anymore, can you? It was all her choice. Willing what? I grabbed the glass of water on the table and threw it directly at him. His forehead immediately swelled red. His cloudy, aged eyes were filled with malice. You dare throw a glass at me? If it weren't for your parents' kindness, do you think I would have spared you? When he first became village chief, his son had been stabbed in a personal conflict. My father happened to pass by and carried him to the hospital. Before Lily's incident, our family and the village chief's family had a very good relationship, but I never imagined the chief's father would be such an evil demon. I hissed with contempt. If it weren't for my father, your son would have died long ago. An old beast like you wouldn't be living so shamelessly now. Perhaps he had never been cursed directly like that. His face turned beet red like a pig's liver. Has your family's upbringing gone to the dogs? How dare you speak to your elders like that? My upbringing is meant for humans, not for beasts. You. Old Man Wilson's chest heaved with rage. He thumped his chest, gasping for air. I stood up abruptly. Don't worry, I will definitely report the truth to the police. I'm not scared. What can the police do now that they know? I'm almost in my grave anyway. Let's see who dares to touch me. You old beast, I shot up. If you're really not scared, why did you faint the first day you saw me? Or what then? Why are you here? What do you want? My brain screamed a severe warning. It means I've told you so many things. In return, why don't you offer me a little something? Or I can pay you, I'm a rich man. Get out. My eyes were bloodshot. I just wanted to lunge and strangle him. There was a frantic knocking at the gate. Bang, bang, along with Ellie's voice, Lily, Lily. I glared at the old man, then turned and walked to the gate. Outside, Ellie's face was filled with worry. Seeing me, she immediately pulled me away. Go, quick. Why are you here? Protect you. From the first day I returned to the village when she mistook me for Lily, she had always clung to me. Before, wherever I went, she never stopped me, but only when we approached the village chief's house did she react abnormally. I slowed my pace. Do you know something? Ellie couldn't lie, she just looked at me with innocent, wide eyes. I rephrased my question, why do you need to protect me? Is it dangerous? I pointed towards the village chief's house. Do you mean that place is dangerous? She nodded frantically. Lily, that is, you went in there before, didn't you? She nodded again. Do you remember the last time she went in there? She tilted her head, her face troubled. This question clearly stumped her. Just when I thought she wouldn't answer, she said. Catch cicadas. Lily exchanged meat. Caught them, Lily vanished. Her words were disjointed, her tone jumbled. Before I could understand, Ellie added, hands no meat, saw Lily, go follow meat. A thought flashed through my mind. 12 years ago, the day before Lily's accident, because I feigned illness, she kindly took the meat for my mother to Grandma's house. According to my mother, Grandma received and ate that meat. So she hadn't encountered anything yet at that point. Ellie's house was next to my grandma's. She must have witnessed this scene, which is why she mentioned the meat. Given Ellie's nature, seeing delicious food, she would definitely ask for some. Catch cicadas, Lily, exchange meat, caught them, Lily vanished. This sentence meant she wanted the piece of meat Lily was holding. Lily told her to go catch cicadas to exchange for it. Back then, catching cicadas could earn money. If you caught many, you could exchange them for meat. Ellie obeyed and went to catch them, but when she finished, she saw Lily leaving Grandma's house. Hands no, hands meat lost. Saw Lily go follow meat. She saw Lily walking ahead and chased after her. My mind raced with the implications. And then what? Ellie grimaced, pointing towards the village chief's house. Danger. Disappeared. Died. I followed Ellie home. Mrs. Zhao asked, what are you doing here again? I made it clear last time. We've paid our dues, what more do you want? But the other culprits who deserve punishment are still living shamelessly. I pulled out my phone and played the secretly recorded conversation from the village chief's house for her. Look, the murderer is openly flaunting himself. While you live in shame, don't you want to clear your daughter's name? Her face wavered for a moment, then returned to calmness. What good would speaking out do? I'm not like your parents with the means to just pack up and leave. My family has one fool and one sick person living off this barren land. In this village, the chief's word is law. If we offend him, how can we survive? Things are different now. Social media is powerful. If we just expose the truth, find reporters, I believe the law will be fair. You're still naive, she said with a bitter laugh. You've been back for a few days and already know the truth. Guess how many people in this village know but stay silent? I was stunned. They all know but don't care? They wouldn't dare. The chief's younger brother-in-law was the police officer in charge of this case at the district police station. That year, he came to my house and promised us a sum of money and to conceal the fool's gender if we kept silent. You know, there are many bachelors in our village and the next. The fool would be safer in prison than wandering the streets. We wronged Lily, but we had no other choice. Consider it paying for our sins by going to prison. We didn't dare to speak the truth. Her words were heart-wrenching. I understood, but I couldn't accept it. No other way, Mrs. Zhao sighed. No, if there were a way, Lily's mother wouldn't have gone mad. Then she recounted what happened after I left. In the early years, only the village chief and Mrs. Zhao's family knew the truth. Lily's parents also believed Ellie was the culprit, and they often sought reasons to argue with Ellie's family. A year later, at a village wedding, old man Wilson drank too much and accidentally revealed the secret. That's when everyone learned the culprit wasn't Ellie but this old man over 80. Lily's parents angrily reported it to the police, but the person who came was the chief's brother-in-law, who naturally didn't side with them. Not giving up, they started appealing to higher authorities. But they were illiterate, and the path to justice was thorny. Fortunately, city leaders became interested, but the case was too old, lacking sufficient evidence. Old man Wilson insisted he was senile and spoke nonsense when drunk. The case remained unresolved. In reality, even with evidence, it might have been useless. The culprit was 82 years old and full of illnesses. The police were helpless. In prison, he'd even be well cared for. Lily's mother spent all her money but couldn't get justice, suffering until she went mad. The village chief offered compensation and covered medical expenses. Lily's father had no choice but to accept the money for his wife's treatment and sign an agreement not to pursue the case further. The victims themselves were powerless. What could we do? Mrs. Zhao wiped away tears. Chloe, everything I've told you is true. Ordinary people like us can't fight against them. I silently stood up and walked out. Sometimes the truth is more brutal than imagination. No wonder old man Wilson revealed the truth so easily. At his age, with one foot in the grave, he might die before even being tried. He lived each day as it came, not caring about dying sooner or later. Could the case really end here? No, it couldn't. That evil person didn't deserve to live another day. Lily couldn't die in vain. I opened my phone and checked the weather forecast. Excellent. The sky was clear today. The moonlight tonight would be very bright. The village chief's house had 3 floors, but old man Wilson, feigning weakness, stayed in a side room on the first floor. The shadows of trees imprinted through the window, bathed in moonlight. He once said he wasn't afraid of vengeful spirits. Tonight, we would put that to the test. I took out the delicate yellow dress I had hidden at the bottom of my trunk. The next morning, police sirens woke me. I rubbed my eyes and asked my parents, "What's that noise?" The village chief's father passed away, apparently last night. Died with his eyes wide open, sold himself, my father said. I smiled. Is that so? Turns out those who do bad things aren't so brave after all. I leisurely took care of my personal hygiene. The burden in my heart suddenly vanished. I even had a good appetite. After eating, I went to the village chief's house. I heard he had fainted several times, and I wanted to see his face. In this story, besides the wicked, there was one person I despised, his son. When his father committed such a filthy act, he covered it up, making him as detestable as the criminal himself. Seeing his distress would bring me satisfaction. But when I arrived, the village chief had already been taken somewhere. The house was in chaos. People were clearing out the old beast's belongings. Finding a few things tedious, I secretly went into another room. This room was piled high with books. I picked up a few, all 12th grade textbooks. Ethan had once said he would lend them to me. I wondered why he had been gone so long last time. By the time Ellie dragged me away, I still hadn't seen him. The noise from outside echoed in. Everyone was gathered at the gate. I faintly heard words of comfort, farewell, and lived a long life. I shook my head, ignoring them. Putting the books down, I searched for something useful. When I opened another chest, I saw a familiar yellow fabric at the bottom. Pulling it out, it was a 6-year-old child's dress. Speckled on the fabric were hard, dried bloodstains. I heard my teeth chattering. My heart pounded with fright. 12 years ago, the unanswered questions now flooded back. For example, why did Lily go to the village chief's house after delivering the meat instead of returning home? The old man's hands and feet were trembling from 12 years ago. If the little girl had tried to run, why couldn't she escape? Who had tied her up? And who had dumped her body into that deserted, dirty ditch? Who was the village chief protecting? The answer was now too obvious. Suddenly, a cold voice echoed behind me. "Well, you finally found out." I spun around. "Whose dress is this?" He locked the door, baring his teeth in a grin. "Can't you guess?" An alarm blared in my head. I feigned calmness. "I don't understand. Open the door, I'm going home. What foolishness are you up to?" He slowly wiped his glasses. "Chloe, just say it directly." I listened in silence. "The person has been dead for a long time. You can pretend you saw nothing, never came here, can't you?" "Of course, no problem." I took a step back, speaking as he instructed, while glancing around for a self-defense tool. Unfortunately, there was nothing but books. "Liar," Ethan sneered. "You agree so easily just to buy time, don't you?" "I'm being honest. I know your uncle was in charge of this case, so I've given up. But I'm genuinely curious why you killed Lily." I actually didn't know the real killer. I just wanted to bluff him. Ethan looked at me from head to toe, as if weighing the truthfulness of my words. "Chloe, from day one I wanted to ask, are you really amnesiac or just pretending to be dumb?" I frowned. "What do I mean?" He snorted. "What do I mean? When Lily met her fate, weren't you present too?" Thump! A sharp pain tore through my brain as if distant memories were resurfacing. I clutched my head, struggling. I don't understand. Let me help you recall. 12 years ago, I first brought you Asterisk home, but my grandfather didn't want you and scolded me. Furious, I ran outside and met Lily. At first, she wouldn't follow, but when she heard you were at my house, she immediately agreed. Following his words, the wall of my memory crumbled. Finally, I remembered everything. I had always said Lily was a beautiful girl, with big, twinkling eyes as lovely as a doll. Everyone adored her. But some affections are like bacteria in the dark, like that old beast, Old Man Wilson. He had told Ethan to lure Lily back, but Ethan was severely nearsighted, and even with thick glasses, he couldn't see clearly, often confusing me and Lily. That day, after Lily left my house, I worried she might be bullied by Ellie, so I followed her. Unexpectedly, I ran into Ethan. He mistook me for Lily and led me back. My father had once saved the village chief's life, and my appearance was ordinary, so the old beast didn't want to touch me, scolding Ethan for being blind. Ethan, angered, left and coincidentally met Lily on her way back from Grandma's house. The smart Lily wouldn't go. Ethan lied, saying I was at his house. Worried about me, Lily reluctantly followed. I was tied up, gagged, and locked in the next room, hearing everything. Initially, Ethan guarded me, but then he couldn't resist and joined the old beast. I struggled but couldn't escape, hitting my head against the door until I fainted. I woke up in the hospital. My parents told me I had a high fever and fainted on the road, receiving emergency treatment all night. Whether it was due to illness or a self-defense mechanism, I completely forgot that memory. After Lily's death, I constantly had nightmares. Perhaps my intuition told me the demonic face in my dreams was Ethan's distorted, tear-streaked face. I gritted my teeth. "You harmed her, why did you kill her too?" "Why?" he sneered. "Not to eradicate the roots so she could report us." "Then how are you sure I won't report you?" His eyes were malicious. "If Lily hadn't cried and begged and tried to comply, do you think we would have spared you?" "But I wouldn't let you off either. I just pretended to abandon you outside the gate, planning to deal with you after her. Who knew someone would take you away? At first, I thought the case was exposed and almost went to confess, but it turned out no one mentioned it. Even now, I don't know who saved you." Ethan laughed mockingly. "Both of you just faked fainting and ran off on your own." "Of course not. The one who saved me was Ellie." In my nightmares, I saw myself being carried away by a thin girl in the night. Now, looking back, that was the true memory. Ellie followed Ethan and Lily to the village chief's house, saw me thrown out, and mistook me for Lily, rescuing me. In a way, Lily's kindness saved my life. Ethan considered this luck. "You're really lucky. If you hadn't forgotten everything after your fever and been taken away early by your parents, you would have joined Lily. The last time you thought I was being kind by bringing you home to find books, that cup of water had drugs in it. Even a saint wouldn't be able to control herself after drinking it." My heart pounded. I wanted to tear him apart. "You madman, do you think I'm still the weak child I was back then? Even if I drank it before losing consciousness, I would kill your old beast of a father. Whatever, I just want to watch you and that pervert kill each other. End you." He gave a disgusting laugh. "I'll make you cry and beg. I beg you to die, you beast." I couldn't bear it anymore and grabbed the books next to me, throwing them all at him. Ethan, being a man, was far stronger than me. In no time, he had me pinned, his right hand tightly squeezing my throat. "You bastard, you're finally in my hands. When you were little, you called me a bookworm. I wanted to kill you even then." I spat a mouthful of saliva into his face, clinging to my old hatred. "Must have been exhausting living with that bitterness for decades, huh? I bet plenty of people cursed you." His face contorted savagely. He slapped me hard across the face. "Shut up, you're just like those blind women, all of you deserve to die. You're the one who deserves to die." I bent my knee and kicked him hard in the groin. Ethan gasped in pain, slapping my face repeatedly, roaring, "This bitch really wants to die." I bit down hard on his arm, using all my strength, refusing to let go, even as he punched and kicked my head. I had calculated carefully. Even if I died now, my parents would surely avenge me, thanks to the blood in my mouth and the missing flesh on his arm. But in the end, I didn't die because the room door was flung open. Ellie burst in. Seeing the yellow dress on the floor, she froze, mumbling, "Lily, I found your dress." Ethan cursed, "Damn it, not this fool again? Get out now." Ellie suddenly looked up, her dark eyes shining brightly. I don't know if it was an illusion, but at that moment, she seemed to regain her lucidity. "Ethan, what if you killed Lily?" "You crazy?" He couldn't finish his sentence because Ellie had twisted the dress into a rope and wrapped it tightly around Ethan's neck. Ethan's eyes bulged as he choked, releasing his grip on me to pull at the dress. I quickly turned off my phone's recording function. It was time for revenge. By the time everyone rushed in, Ethan was stiff. The village chief saw the scene and shrieked, fainting again. Red-eyed, I ran into my parents' arms. "Mom, Dad, Ethan's gone mad. He tried to kill me." I briefly recounted the events and urged everyone to call the police. Ellie had returned to her innocent, drooling self. She giggled, mimicking, call the police." She still clutched Lily's dress, its brown fabric stained with splotches of blood, now with fresh red. Mrs. Zhao saw this and frantically snatched it away. "What is this?" "Throw it away immediately. How many times have I told you not to cause trouble?" Ellie clung to it, refusing to let go, wailing, "No, it's Lily's. Auntie, she saved me, so it was just an accident with Ethan." I emphasized the words, "just an accident." "This was a righteous act. She's a hero." Mrs. Zhao hesitated. "Do you have proof?" "Of course. This time I have complete evidence. No matter who comes, they won't be able to cover for the culprit anymore. The real cause of Lily's death will be exposed in broad daylight. As for Ethan, the executioner who killed Lily over a decade ago, and now played his cruel game with me, he truly deserves to die 1,000 deaths." Ellie's actions would at most be considered self-defense exceeding reasonable limits, but she is intellectually disabled and cannot differentiate like a normal person when to stop. My crucial audio recording also stopped abruptly, so she will be fine. We just need to escalate the matter, attract public attention, and await a fair verdict. In the winter of 2024, the final verdict arrived. Ellie was deemed to have acted heroically and was released. Due to her wrongful conviction in 2011, the government compensated her 800,000 yuan. Ethan's uncle was sentenced to 10 years in prison for abuse of power and covering up a crime. The village chief received 8 years for covering up and bribery. Unable to bear the villagers' gazes, their families all moved away. The old beast's grave was leveled by someone, his tombstone thrown into a septic pit. Lily's mother, hearing the news of the verdict, suddenly regained her sanity. She rushed to her daughter's burial place. "Can you hear, my child? Lily, can you hear? Your killer has paid the price." Her bare feet were stained with blood. She hugged the tombstone, sobbing uncontrollably, as if wanting to release all the grievances of over a decade. Lily's father, comforting his wife, cried along with her. Watching their hunched backs, I stood behind them, my eyes welling up. If Lily were still alive, she would surely be heartbroken to see this scene. I burned the verdict in front of her grave, hoping her soul would receive belated justice. Ellie took the bright yellow dress from her chest and placed it on the flames. The fire quickly consumed it, its warmth radiating onto my face as if Lily herself was waving goodbye. "Farewell, my dearest friend. May your next life be peaceful, safe, and filled with happiness."